Thank you very much. Good day, Nigeria. I'm Mark Otabo, and welcome to the Big Issue. All right. It is said that education is the backbone of any nation's future. But what happens when that backbone is repeatedly broken by strikes? Just last year, the National Industrial Court dismissed ASUU's case against the federal government over unpaid salaries during the 8-month 2022 strike. The court called it frivolous and awarded costs against the union. Now, earlier this year, the same court upheld the no work, no pay policy, insisting that workers, including lecturers, can't expect salaries during the strike periods. Now, meanwhile, ASUU has continued to protest, citing unfulfilled agreements and unpaid arrears. In August 2025, members staged protests across campuses from Ibadan to Nsukka, and once again, they are threatening another strike. Students are caught in the crossfire, courses delayed, dreams derailed, futures in limbo. So today on The Big Issue, we ask, are these strikes a justified tool of resistance or a damaging blow to Nigeria's youth? This is the debate, and as always, it promises to be fierce, factual, and fearlessly frank. Welcome once again to The Big Issue. Thank you very much. Now, joining us today are two strong voices on opposing sides of this critical debate. First, a respected lecturer from the Department of Philosophy, University of Lagos, Dr. Dan Ekere. He believes ASUU strike actions are justified. The government must be held accountable for its broken promises. Please welcome Dr. Ekere to the podium.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Fantastic. And on the other side, we have a student activist, education policy analyst, and youth advocate. He is the managing editor, Unilac's son, Daniel Nnamani. He argues that strikes are not justified. Ladies and gentlemen, the studio is set, the gloves are off. When we return, it's time for opening arguments. This is the Big Issue. Thank you very much. Welcome back, Nigeria. It's still your #1 civic debate show, The Big Issue. Now, Dr. Dan Ekere, let's begin with you. You are advocating and saying strikes are justified. How do you begin your conversation in less than 2 minutes?
Thank you. It's not really that strikes are justified. But when the ground is created for it, when you create a fertile ground for it, then it becomes necessitated. What has been happening is that we've always had a situation in which government only acts when strikes are declared. So that is what brings about it. Lecturers don't enjoy strike. I don't think any laborer will want to go on strike before getting his reward. At least the Bible made me to understand that the laborer deserves his reward. So if you are, so what I really expect is that the government should take care of those needs we are talking about. And if you look at the details of what really pushed the academics to strike, you discover that it's not all about salaries. It's about the entire ecosystem of the educational sector. When you have an environment where people are struggling to produce, and yet even among that, you find people who, when they get out of this place, they are among the best elsewhere. Assuming you now create a fertile ground for such, atmosphere, you can imagine what will happen. So when you talk about grading, talk about placing, talk about, all this rating of schools and all the rest, you talk about schools outside, and look at the environment which they produce their own. Then the one will be. So you now find out that even the one you call half-baked that we, bring out here, when they get into that atmosphere, they are always very hot. They become the best. They become the ones that top the list. So create that same atmosphere for them to be produced there. Then the sky will not be their limit. They will actually penetrate and will get to wherever the sky can take them. So that's what we are asking for. It's not all about, but in any case, what is wrong with people who teach children to be paid well? What's wrong with that?
All right.
We are paid.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. Mr. Nnamani, you were quite critical of the fact that strikes are damaging, they ruin competitiveness, and they bring about a certain level of demoralization amongst the young people. Where do you stand and how do you start?
Okay, for over 4 decades,
right,
ASUU has been going on strike. The first ASUU strike that we had in this country was in 1988. By 1992, they've gone on another strike. From then till democracy, we had 17 strikes. If you do one thing over and over again and the result does not change, your mind should tell you it is time for us to pause, retreat, and re-strategize. I strongly believe that, yes, ASUU's demands are quite germane, obviously, but they need to re-strategize on how they go about this demand. You can't continue to go on strike. Everything, we always say in Nigeria that ASUU strike even more frequent than thunder. That should not be what should represent our academic sector. We should have a system that enables lecturer and government to negotiate properly and not this fire brigade approach. Every time it is just a reactive way of telling government to do what they want. No, we want them to look for a holistic solution that can be a win-win for everybody, and this strike, it has to end.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Nnamani, I'll take you up on this quickly, but you do realize that strikes are not a disease. It is as a result of the irresponsibility on the part of the government, and that's why these strikes continue to ensue. So why would you not understand that sometimes it takes a body to have some level of, request to be done by that agitation? And the last time I checked, strikes are not even illegal. Strikes are legal in the system, especially when you have a democracy system where people are championing for greatness. So what exactly is the issue you have with the fact that they want to come through strikes to negotiate because they know this is the only language that the government probably understands?
Okay, so the thing about strike is that I see lecturer and ASUU versus federal government strike because it's been a pattern over the years, and they're already used to it, that this is the only way to get these people to react. But there are other ways, right? They have the mentality of, because ASUU was built during the military regime, so they still say that it is time for us to continue that struggle. They cannot continue that struggle. It's no longer the period of solidarity. It is very important that they change that narrative. Yes, they can go on strike, but strike should be last resort. It should not be you can just hear ASUU called off strike yesterday, and they said after 1 month, if our demands are not met, we'll go back on strike. It simply means you guys don't have strategy. All you have is strike and strike and strike.
Dr. Dana Kere, even if I tried to squeeze out information from this young man, he said something that actually struck a chord. He said, you guys do not have a strategy and you guys keep resorting to strike every now and then. How do you respond to that?
All I would say is let him give us one, if he has any. Okay. Because even among the ASUU members, you get this idea, oh, it must not, okay, let's think outside the box. We have left the box. Show us what to do. You see,
you want to clap now.
No, what we need to understand, I think it's important to understand. Yeah, while this may, the platform, the way it is about the debate, but my interest really is for you to be informed. The issue we are discussing today that led to this strike started 2009. Is that a fire brigade thing? A discussion that was concluded in 2009 that was due for renegotiation about 5 years later. 2009 to date, how many years? What has been done? So it has always been an issue of a system that is not prepared to take care of the needs of the people. A system that is willing to care for themselves. You see, so now, when you look at it very carefully, at the moment, students are paying fees. And I can tell you that there are a lot of people who will not have access to university education because of this challenge. You hear, oh, there is a NEL fund. I've seen people who applied for NEL fund. They are yet to see NEL, let alone fund. You see, so let's not, I don't think we need to deceive ourselves.
Right.
ASUU is talking about funding education properly, funding the way it should be done.
Right.
In doing this, you equally take care of the interests of those who run the system. Let there be better motivation.
Right.
So that they can bring in their best. Research is not something cheap.
Right.
When you are meant to attend a conference and the resources to attend that conference are not there, how do you do it? We've seen situations where people have to sell land, sell cars in order to be able. And they want you to publish in, in index journals that are celebrated all over the world. How do you do it? How do you carry out your... a student once asked me sometimes, how come people here are doing this, they are not doing it? I just gave him a very little, example. I said, watch Nat Geo Wild. You see people who research on insects. So assuming, take it from this level, your father researches on insects, how does he make money? Who is buying insects? You see, but somebody has paid that bill. He needs to create that environment for people to have knowledge about how insects, operate. Okay. But his trade really is not about selling insects.
All right.
Somebody has paid the bill.
Fantastic.
All right. That's how researchers are funded. But when you don't provide the atmosphere for research, and because of that, you can tell how insects react, how they behave. The same thing with animals and the rest of them.
All right.
Somebody has paid the bill.
All right.
Now, until you fund research properly, you can't get the best out of it.
Okay.
And the challenge we have with the education system in Nigeria is that the government seems not to be concerned, not to be interested.
Okay, Dr. Danekere, very quickly, I understand that in South Africa, NSFAS, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, provides an opportunity for students who do not have the means to go to school, to actually go to school by way of providing funds for them. And that's exactly the structure that this particular administration has adopted with the NEL Fund. I just came back from the north, and I can tell you with all sincerity that the NEL Fund has taken roots in most parts of the country. And you also do not expect that a scheme that has just been introduced will be expected to saturate almost immediately. It will take time, whether you believe it or not.
I agree with you.
Now, that's the government there making a move to ensure that students who do not have the means to attend school now have that means through NEL Fund. And that NEL Fund, for your information, they're not even asking you to pay back because they know that students might not be able to pay back because they don't get jobs at the end of the day. So is that not a government seeking to understand the students' plight to help their situation when it comes to education as well?
Yes. Is the NEL Fund a northern program?
It's not a northern program. I'm just telling you where I came from.
Yeah, but it has taken root in those areas. It took root in the north, but you left here for the north. Why did you tell us?
I went for an assignment.
No, that's what I'm saying. You should have told us that here that I am, it has taken root here.
I do not have that information. You should give me that information.
Exactly what I've just told you.
Are you?
Exactly what I'm saying.
So are you
saying that I know of people who have registered?
You know of people. You know of people.
Listen,
but you're generalizing it. You know of people who registered, but you don't know people who have gotten the funds.
I equally know.
So we are on two different grounds here.
I equally know some got, all right?
Okay.
But you have just told us in very clear language that it has a root. And I don't want to go into this north-south divide. The important thing is that what is this fund meant to achieve? Now, if you fund students maybe fees and the rest, are they equally going to pay to build laboratories, the students? Are they going to equip the libraries? You are just talking about the school fees and maybe feeding.
Are you saying the fees do not make any sense in
it makes a lot of sense. So if you can pay the fees of all this, why not just drop the fees and fund the system?
Okay. All right, you heard Dr. Danekere and the way he has been able to push out his logics with what is happening with the system. How do you respond to that? Because I understand vividly that when the government tries to make funds available for students to attend school, I think that is a government that somehow has the plight of the students at heart and wants to actually make the system worthwhile. Now, how do you come in all of this?
Okay, so if we want to talk about funding for education, we know that university system, education generally in Nigeria is underfunded.
Okay.
That's a fact. We are not arguing that with ASUU.
All right.
We know United Nations, their benchmark for education should be between 15 to 27% of your national budget. But currently Nigeria is doing 7%, which is below average, right? But the issue there is, this is an approach you guys have adopted, which is we'll go on strike when education is not properly funded.
Right.
But I'm saying that let's think outside the box. Because the politicians will talk about that they don't have the political will to fund education properly. They are people from us, right? ASUU are the ones serving as returning officers during election. They are the ones serving as INEC chairman. So they influence how these policies are made and the people that are in government. So before election, what do? They all sit back, watch people that are not competent to fund education, get into power, and then they turn out to punish us, the students. So I strongly believe that strike, yes, we need to fund education properly the way it is funded in other countries. But if government is not doing it, he said that when two elephants are fighting, it is the grass that is suffering. Every time, it is the Nigerian student that always suffers it.
Thank you. Dr. Danekere, Nnamani here is saying that there's a possibility that ASUU has been compromised as well, and they've allowed infiltrations into the system, and that is why the autonomy structure that is supposed to make ASUU stand out is no longer the rhetoric that we are seeing today. Because at the end of the day, you have civilian administrations, military administrations choosing vice chancellors for universities. It has already defeated the autonomy of ASUU in itself. So where do we even begin this fight from if ASUU as a body also is not even as independent as we think they are?
Well, I think the issue of autonomy is about university, really, not about ASUU. ASUU is simply a trade union, all right?
But ASUU controls universities.
No,
ASUU advocating for universities.
They advocate.
You can't divorce them.
You can.
You can't.
When government funds universities, they are not funding ASUU, okay? They're not funding ASUU. ASUU is an association. It's a trade union. And ASUU is concerned about the interests of
its members.
But in doing that, ASUU equally recognizes that it functions within a system. And as such, you just take a look at the railway, corporation we used to have in those days.
Right.
When the workers were actually fighting for increase of salary, wages, and the rest of it, they were not fighting for, coaches to be increased. Now, eventually, if you got the increase in salary and the coaches are not there, what are you going to do? Don't you think they will send you out of the system? So ASUU is always talking about the entire system.
Right.
When we talk about welfare for the staff, we're equally talking about the environment in which they operate. When there are no laboratories, well-funded or up-to-date laboratories, libraries, and all the facilities that are needed to work, if they are not there and you are paying humongous salaries and the rest of it, they will still not be able to produce what they ought to. ASUU is about productivity. ASUU is about the interests of don't forget that ASUU members are parents. I have children in the university.
Okay.
All right? So it's not all about welfare of the lecturers alone. We are talking about entire... Because at the end of it, if you don't get it right, even the products you are going to bring out, the mentality they will have, if it's not a type that is suitable for development of a system, you end up having the same challenge. Now, he made a point that ASUU people are the ones who are returning officers and the rest of them. Let it be clear, ASUU does not send members to elections to be returning officers. It was only when Jega came on board the first time that he actually made that appeal, being a former president of ASUU. Yes, you find university lecturers working as returning officers. In most times, the big ones, they use vice chancellors. But vice chancellors they are not the ones who do the voting. They are not the ones who are polling agents at the police stations. At best, what you bring together is what they announce. I have been collation officer, I have been returning officer. I don't fabricate figures. The figures you bring to me are the ones I add together. So the problem is not with the returning officer per se. It's about the voting pattern. How is it done? You who will go and queue up and you are given 2,000 naira to sell your destiny. Is it ASUU that is doing that?
All right.
So these are the issues, really.
Nnamani, before we go on that break quickly, I also want to let you know that ASUU isn't about personal gain. I hope you understand that, but about the survival of public universities and how it should be run. And if at the end of the day, they have resorted to ensuring that what they demand for should be met to ensure the development of universities, why do you have a problem with that?
Okay, so I want to quickly respond to two things he has raised.
Quickly, before we go on the break.
Which is, he talked about they being just people that collect figures.
Right.
Right. ASUU has a role to play because in the university system, we have people that are voters. Ask him how many times in class do they even talk about civic responsibilities. We have students. That's why I said initially, what they do is mostly reactive. Because you have a system that is within your hands,
Right.
that you are going to use very well, and you see that system betting what you want it to bring. We can't just relax and wait until government does not do this, then we go on strike. Government promises, we stay in class, a little bit again, you are going on another strike. It's just like a cyclical recycling of the same thing. It's a process that needs to end.
Okay.
So ASUU needs to sit down, look for an alternative to strike,
Right.
so that the system that you are trying to protect, you don't end up killing it. Our academic calendar is no longer stable. I got admission in 2021. I was supposed to graduate in 2024/2025, right? Currently, I'm just about to enter my final year. You can see what ASUU has done. It has taken almost 2 years out of my life.
All right. All right, I think right about now we have to go on a quick break. As you heard it, one side is saying, look, these strikes are justified and this is the only way we can hold the government responsible to get what we want. On the other side of the debate, he's saying, look, we can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and get the same result because that will be a symptom of futility. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll be the crossfire right here on the big... Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the big... Well, right about now, we are going straight to the crossfire. It's going to be Dan, Dr. Dan, and of course, Nnamani right here. They'll be going head-to-head with each other. But before we kick that segment off, I just want to let Nnamani know that, look, I understand what you're advocating for. The delays, the calendar being disrupted, the demoralization among students, you know, it discourages them a lot and all of that. But I want you to understand that whether you like it or not, Dr. Dan here is saying, look, we are humans doing what we have to do to ensure that students get the best of education. It is quite sorry that politicians are earning more than lecturers and professors who went to study, you know, to ensure that students also get the best education. So it is not out of line if they are saying, we want this because we have families to take care of, we have something to fall back on when we are old, when we can't stand and do this job anymore. So I hope you understand that his point is justified. Dr. Dan Ekere.
Yeah, thank you. Well, the first thing is that he's talking about who actually designed this calendar. Is it the federal government or the schools? You see, when you talk about calendar, it's the schools that plan this academic calendar. It's the Senate of the university that determines what the calendar of the university should be. You see, if they have no intention of running that calendar, they will come out with it. You see, but that is hinged on certain, you know, positions, and funding is part of it. When that is not done, you begin to run into this issue of, you know, sessions being cancelled and all of that. So that is not a plan of ASUU. Now, when you have a system that does not really care about its people, you have the kind of mess we are in today. Bear it in mind that strike is always the last resort for ASUU. A true member of ASUU is always passionate about his or her students. And you raise an issue of whether we actually talk about to the students about civic responsibility. I don't know about mass comm, but come to philosophy. They will tell you that is what we do. You know, I've always made my students to understand that it's not about the grade you get in the class. Because there are people who get higher grades at the end of it, they might not even be useful much later. There are some who will make the average grades, and tomorrow they could be anything. So it's not really about the grade. It's about you acquiring knowledge. It's about you being educated properly. It's different from just, you know, oh, you can write, you can read. Education is not about reading and writing. It's about the total development of the human being. And once you have that development, you'll be able to function in society realizing that the other person is a human being. All right? So that's what we do.
Right.
And based on that, I do not expect that you should come out of the school at the end of the day and become an evil to the other person. But you find that happening. You find people who all they do is throughout the night, browsing, looking for how to defraud the other person. That is not part of what ASUU teaches. We teach people to actually have the knowledge to function in society. But you see deviation because of societal issues. And those are the issues we are talking about. Fund education properly so that these people can actually function in a society. When you have a functional society, these things will not be there. They will naturally fizzle out. So it is the passion of ASUU to ensure that the calendars are actually followed religiously.
Okay.
But that has to do with how the government responds.
Thank you very much.
So going back to the issue of funding, that federal government needs to fund education, there's a consensus on that, right? I both agree with him that they must fund education. But let's look for alternative, because we can't continue on this trajectory. Right. Now, in some countries, the way their education systems are planned, for instance, in Finland, they do performance-based funding for universities. So it is not a system whereby all lecturers in the country earn the same amount. No. You can't be in Ivy League school and be earning the same thing with someone, say, for Ekiti State University, for instance. You can't be in Unilag and be earning the same thing with that person. So can we look at that kind of innovation where lecturers will be paid based on output from all these universities? Your innovation, your output, and other things you're able to do would determine the amount or the kind of funding that comes there. Two, ASUU needs to also sit down and do like a joint education reform council where they will have government, ASUU, and students. They can be meeting quarterly every year. It is not a system whereby ASUU, okay, now ASUU has said in 1 month's time we are coming back. That is not the approach that you can use to solve education problem. They can say, oh, every quarterly we'll be meeting with the Ministry of Education, with student representatives and lecturers. They all meet together, they discuss, where are we, this is where we are. It ensures consistency in their plan, and not to go back to come again. And also, I've also noticed that in the system, ASUU always wait until last minute they will declare strike. That is what they and the federal government has been doing. But there are also other ways. They have senators that are their friends. They have House of Rep members that are their friends. What bills are they sponsoring in the House? There are some bills that you need to legislate on this thing. They become a law. That way you fund the education properly. But where you just relax, everything is about strike and strike and strike. Also, in some universities, they are beginning to innovate. Endowment fund. Alumni are beginning to donate. But some universities that are saying we need funding, they don't even have the infrastructure for students or alumni to give back. In some places, this money are given back, they loot it. So what are we even saying? At the end of the day, it's a societal problem. So they should not allow students to be the one to suffer in all of this. If we want to fund education, let ASUU also come up with another alternative. If government is giving us, okay, say 40%, we can do, say, 20% from our side. At least you know that you are bringing something to the table. You can't just sit back and everything comes from the federal government. We can't continue like that because we don't have a government.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, Dr. Dan, before you kick it off, from everything he said, innovation is part of it. You guys don't have that innovation to actually drive new frontiers to ensure
that's not
things.
Correct.
Secondly, he also talked about accountability as well.
Yes.
And thirdly, I want to take you up on this as well. We used to have a vibrant student union presidents in public universities in the past.
Exactly.
They always command essence when they speak. Students have hope when they stand on the podium to talk.
Yeah.
And these students also are able to champion protests with a connective, university schools to actually stage a protest for their demands.
Yeah.
If student union is so active today, do you think you guys will be suffering the way you're suffering now?
That question should have been directed to him. He is the student. The question, you see, that's part of the problem.
The politics.
Of the system.
Now the question of the politics ASUU indulged in that crippled student union power is also, the blame is back to
that is not
ASUU
true.
as a body.
No, that's not true. That's you see, what I've noticed, what I've just observed from here, maybe because ASUU has not really been engaging in, publicity of whatever.
But why have why has ASUU not been doing that?
The way ASUU operates, ASUU has its own principles of operation. Even in their democracy, it's not the type that you do outside that the highest bidder gets. ASUU operates with principles. And that is the only way ASUU has remained relevant even till today. You see, all these issues you have, student union issue has been one of those things that ASUU used to actually advocate. But don't forget, it's not ASUU that has abrogated or removed students' union from the universities. ASUU does not run the university. The university is actually managed by the pro-chancellor, vice-chancellor, and all those who are the ASUU members are simply employees of the university.
So are you saying they don't have a say in policy implementation? They don't have a say in contributing?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Now, the Senate of the university actually formulates policies. And the question you should be asking is, have ASUU actually been making advocacy in Senate? If ASUU has not been doing that, how have the university been able to survive over the years now? People don't have information about what ASUU is actually about. Don't forget that even the TET fund that has become something they want to politicize and use for campaign was actually the brainwork of ASUU. ASUU is a body of thinkers, all right? ASUU is not just a political organization. Right. ASUU is a body of thinkers. Before ASUU would take a strike, it's something that you would have exhausted all other avenues. And ASUU does not just declare strike. Right. Now, they have processes. That is why, even when they had a negotiation meeting with the National Assembly, the president of ASUU could not call off strike. There is a process from the bottom. The branches, the members have to take decisions. They examine issues. Right. And it's cascaded in that manner. Right. So when there is a public opinion or a popular position among the members, only then can that position be followed. Before ASUU will come to the level of, say, let's go on strike. I'm telling you, they would have exhausted every. You find out what ASUU has done. We've engaged all important persons in Nigeria to even engage this government. Have you forgotten that it was Bajabi Amila who facilitated the last suspension of ASUU strike? Who is he today? Is he not the chief of staff? What has he done to ensure that this thing is actually addressed? Do you know what? So these people, they are not interested. But don't forget, they have what it takes to fund their children anywhere. We don't have it. That is why we are still fighting for the system, not just our salaries alone. Because I don't have what it takes to send my children to Europe, to America, and the rest of them. Most of their children are not here. All right? I don't know how many of these students you have here can actually, we know what they pay in private universities. So if you were to go by what it would take to actually sponsor a student, that is what it is. So it's for the government to step in and do some kind of, okay, let's subsidize it by this level. That is why you were paying what you were paying as little as that. But today, even in the University of Lagos, there are school fees. You might do all the politics of removing the name tuition, but are they going there free? I have children in the university, like I said. That was not the case, all right? But today they are paying. Even at that, that cannot truly train a child if government does not come. So we are saying that the government must live up to its responsibility. It doesn't matter what the students will say about this. I have children. My interest is not for them to stay at home. But when the mother hen is not alive, the hawks will come for the chicks.
When the mother hen is not alive, thank you very much for that. When the mother hen is not alive, the hawks will come for the chicks. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, it will be time for the audience to let us have their own side of the conversation. Stay tuned. This is still the big. Welcome back, Nigeria. This is still the big. Thank you very much. All right, the discussion is still very sacrosanct. Should strikes be justified? ASUU is saying it is very justified because that's the only way they can actually champion their needs and ask for what exactly they deserve. And of course, Nnamani here is saying, look, there are other alternatives, and he's been able to give us some alternatives that ASUU should have worked with to give them a reason to understand that strike is not the only way. But right now, let's hear from our audience. I know they are itching to drop the questions, but please do it with a bit of caution. Let's hear from our young our brother there. What's your name and who's your question directed to?
Hello, everyone. My name is Samuel, a student of the Department of Mass Communication, UNILAG, 300 level students. Right. And my question is directed to Dr. Dan. So this is my question. At what point does ASUU's pursuit of better welfare and funding cross the line from an act of to an act of sabotage against the future of Nigerian students and the educational system itself?
Okay.
At what point?
Okay.
Can I respond?
Yes, quickly.
Yeah, it seems as if the Nigerian student does not even know what his or her problem is. That's what I've just got to realize. Because your problem is not ASUU. The same way you have paid written exam to be in the university, that is how I applied to be there. You are pursuing your own, I am pursuing my own. The difference is that we both have to interact for yours to be good, for mine to be good. I cannot sacrifice mine just for you to live. I've told you that when the mother hen is not alive, the chick, we have to battle with the hawk. All right? So everybody in that ecosystem has an interest, and that interest have to be protected. Now, if the lecturer is not properly motivated, you are not likely going to get the best out of him or her. So when we fight for our welfare, we always talk about revitalization of the Nigerian education system. That is not something I will take to my house. That is an environment where I will function well and you will have the best. So there's really no issue of ASUU fighting his interests and interests, crossing or being against.
All right, thank you very much.
It's all about you.
Let's hear you.
I'm Stephanie, a mass communication student at the University of Lagos, and my question is directed to Daniel.
Okay.
So you mentioned that they need to think outside of the box, they need alternative, and Dr. Dan directed a question to you that you should list out alternative, and the only one you listed was they should have a board where they call students and all to come and give their input in it. And I want you to state more than that, the input they can actually bring or what you think they can do apart from the board they need to create.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for that question. What I said was that they need to have that board, right? But aside the board, let's focus on endowment fund. We've seen churches raise billions to build universities. That means Nigerians don't have the problem of giving. Do you understand? We don't have the problem of giving. What we have is that the infrastructure is not there. And sometimes you see lecturers frustrating students. When that student graduates, they will not want to come back to give back to the system. So it is something that... So when we talk about funding education, it's not just something that you just need somebody to start pushing funds to you. No, lecturers also need to own up because the system belongs to all of us. The way you treat a student today is the way you will treat you when he graduates. Don't forget, all universities have produced fantastic people, industry leaders that have made impact globally and across the world, right? But the problem is these guys are not coming back to give back. In Harvard, for instance, they have a system where they celebrate their alumni. If you give back consecutively for 2 years, they give you an award. Some universities don't have this. So these are alternatives that ASUU can explore. Why the federal government, I know, and I agree with ASUU, they are underfunding education. Like before I started, I said it, you can't be giving 7% of your budget for education. It is largely poor. The government is not responsible in terms of education. But we cannot, they said that you can not prevent a bird from flying over your head, but you can stop it from building a nest on your head. That is what ASUU must do.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. You might want to react later, no problem. But
okay,
let's get the next question quickly because of time.
Good day, everyone. My name is Tadish Mubarak, a 300-level student of Mass Communication, Unilag.
All right.
I'm directing my question to Mr. Nnamani.
All right.
So I've listened to Dr. Dan, and one thing I've noticed is that I think we are being unfair to ASUU, considering the fact that they are not even advocating for their own welfare personally. The majority of their demand is basically for the student welfare and to create a better learning environment. So I believe we are in a system whereby a mechanical student can't even repair a generator. So don't you think at this point their strike is justifiable, at least considering the fact that it's our fight they are fighting?
Okay, thank you very much. Fast. Daniel, quickly.
So in your family, we know that your parents do not have all they need to take care of you, yet they are still doing their best. What we are saying is let's make use of what we have currently and ensure that we prevent those things that are causing us to go on strike in the future. What ASUU is doing is they are not trying to maximize what is available and create an alternative. They just say, this fund has to come from here. It's just like you telling your dad, Dad, you must fund me, and if you don't fund me, I'll become useless. That is what is happening.
All right, contributions, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Good
quickly.
afternoon. My name is Samson Edith from National Open University.
Quickly.
And I have a contribution to make. So as a Nigerian student whose parents can only afford a federal university or a state university, that parent already has a budget of, okay, I'm training this child for 4 years. Then we now end up having constant strike, and that student end up spending more than 7 years in the university. So now, sir, to you, you said you have a child in school that you are training. As a parent, if you are being genuine to yourself, you know that training a child, one child, you might have more than one child in a university, but training even just one child in a university for 7 years with the salary you are collecting, you know that it is very worrisome. So I feel, and according to him, or I am supporting him, saying that there are other ways we can actually settle these issues. This issue is between ASUU and the government. In a way, they might see it as something that they are doing it to our own favor. But you cannot say it is to our own favor when we are always going on strike, or when our lecturers are always on strike. Not because you have carryover, but because your lecturers are always on strike. Now, it is not possible for us to, for me, I might not be going to a university that actually maybe the strike is affecting. But for other students, we have majority of these students that when they spend more than that 4 years, or even within that 4 years, they are going on strike in one semester more than 4 times, they will end up dropping out from school. Some will even end up going to go and learn one handwork. That's why you hear some people tell you school na scam. And I don't blame them when they say school na scam, because what is the essence of me budgeting myself of going to school for 4 years and I'm spending minimum of 7 years in that university? Now, that is for a student that the parent is training. How about those that they are the one training themselves? They are working to train themselves. So how do they do it?
Oh, let's have you quickly.
Okay. My name is Joy Edengo, a now student 400 level.
Good.
And my question is directed to Dr. Dan.
All right.
Now, my question is, how can government and ASUU prioritize the welfare of the students and academic settings, even in the period of negotiation? Why can't there be a continuity of academic run even in the period of negotiation? Must there be a strike before there will be a resolution?
Okay.
That's my question.
All right, Dr. Dan.
Yeah, thank you. Well, the first one was that you said it was more or less like a question, not just a comment. You know, somebody proposing 4 years and ending up spending 6 years or 7, and ASUU is not fighting for you. You see, we are saying this because the university is still there. Because if you leave these politicians to do what they actually have in mind, the university will be left to the highest bidder. I would be surprised by tomorrow Dangote acquires University of Lagos, the way it is going. You see, because it seems as if we are not actually prepared to fund education. And we'll end up, UNILAG can actually raise enough money to fund itself. If you give them, if UNILAG is given the opportunity to fund yourself. But because today, what you are paying, I've told you, is not actually up to what it takes to train a child. UNILAG can charge 2 million per child, and you see have the school as full as it is. But at that point, it will be those who can pay, not those who are actually qualified to be there. So that will create that problem that we are talking about. What ASUU is fighting for is the interest of society. And somebody is asking, can't negotiation go on? Do you know how long? I told you the agreement we are talking about was actually signed in 2009. Does common sense not even tell you that? What are we talking about? An agreement of 2009 that was due for several renegotiations. Is that what we are still talking about? Does that not tell you the kind of people we are dealing with?
All right, thank you, Dr. Dan. Thank you, Dr. Dan. Just hold it right there. All right, my brother, quickly your contribution before we slide.
Thank you. My name is Wale. I'm a coach and I'm a public speaker. Yeah, I think as an addendum, Dr. Dan mentioned something about politicians hijacking the system. I think we've had members, the president of this nation, 2 of them, Yaradua and Jonathan, that were drafted from the ASUU. They were part of the system, because why I mentioned that was the fact that they knew the plight of the lecturers. They emanated, they became the president, and under them we still had strike action. And this is just an addendum to what Mr. Nanamani said that we should look towards endowment. I think the VC of UI is doing something in that regard. We have a system where we can come together and bring for an endowment fund, and that again is predicated on trust, because I know it's something that can be done. It should not come only from the government. We are not saying, we are not abdicating the government from their responsibility, because I think we have patience for not honoring our words, and I think that's why we are here at that level, why university system is not being funded, and we are going back and forth on the negotiating table. Because if you have an agreement, that agreement should be sacrosanct, and as such, it should be fulfilled. Everybody should come to the table and have a benchmark that, okay, we are releasing this fund at this time so that the university system can be well funded.
All right, thank you. Final question before we go, quickly.
Okay, so everybody, my name is Adebisi from Mass Communication, University of Lagos.
Quickly.
So the question is going to Dr. Dan.
All right.
You said ASUU has explored so many options before they call a strike. This strike that you've been doing for so many years, has there ever been a positive result for it? No.
That's not a question. Now you've already answered.
No, sir, hold on. Has there ever been a positive result for it? I'm sure after this one, there's still going to be more strikes. And students keep suffering. Has there ever been, from your own perspective, has there ever been a positive result from the strike you've been
Okay,
calling?
I thought you wanted to answer.
Please put your hands together for us.
It's okay. Now,
Quickly, 10 seconds.
A very short one. If not for ASUU strike, you will not even have a university in Nigeria. So there have been a lot of results. I told you TED Fund is a creation of ASUU.
Right.
Are you not seeing TED Fund buildings in your school? That's a creation of ASUU. Go to almost all the state universities. What you find today is TED Fund. Even the states are not bringing money to fund education. So ASUU, and it's only strike that brings this result. At the time you engage them in negotiation, they keep dribbling you as if you are a political party that they are looking for a way to manipulate to get who emerges as the one they can actually manipulate. You know?
Thank you. You want to respond to that quickly?
Okay, so let me reiterate here that ASUU
10 seconds.
has a germane request.
Good.
We need them to be properly paid. Some people want to graduate and come back as lecturer because what they are paying them is not encouraged. I cannot come back. Sorry to say that.
No, come, let's fight it together so that you know what it is.
Please put your hands together once, right? It's all good. It's all good. All right, it's been a very...
Mark, before you close it, the young man just made a statement. Every general want the child to be a military man.
We are not closing the show yet. Don't worry.
No member of ASUU is praying that my son or daughter should be a lecturer. Are you getting it? He has just solved the problem.
All right, as it is, very engaging, but we return, and of course, with Coastal right here on The Big. Welcome back. This is still The Big. It's been fairy, it's been factual, but it's time to close. Dr. Dan Ekere, in 30 seconds, your final thoughts.
Yeah, let me start from where he stopped, that he does not want to be a lecturer. But give him an offer in the oil company, I'm sure he will rush at it. See, that tells you what is happening to the Nigerian educational system. There is nobody in Nigeria who is anywhere in all of this who did not pass through a teacher. But that is one of the professions that they look down upon the most in society. And any society that looks down on its educational system is only digging its grave. So I can tell you, we are digging our grave.
All right, thank you very much. Dan Namani, time to close, 30 seconds.
Okay, my final word is that ASUU, we've had enough of strikes. 17 strikes between 1999 and 2025 is enough. It is time to do something differently. And the federal government, please fund education. It is your responsibility to fund education. Fund it because we have the money. Subsidy is gone, so we have more money. Fund education.
Thank you very much. So there you have it, Nigeria. Of course, before we proceed, I would like us to have some kind of a handshake. That's a ritual of the show. All right, there's no bad blood at all.
No, there can't be a bad blood. It's my students.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
They are the ones who are fighting for.
Thank you so much. So there you have it, Nigeria. Strikes in our universities, are they a weapon of justice or a hammer shattering the dreams of young Nigerians? The courts have ruled, the union is protesting, and the students once again wait in silence. Strike is a cry of a dying institution, but when the cry becomes constant, the patient stops listening. If ASUU folds its arms, public universities die quietly. If it strikes, they die loudly. Which death should we choose? Justice delayed is education denied, but who delays it more, government or ASUU? Come on, please put your hands together once again. Absolutely. Of course, well, we thank our brilliant guests, our spirited audience, and you watching from home. Special recognition to students from the Faculty of Mass Communication, University of Lagos. And of course, and the National Open University, and of course, our ardent, big issue diehard as in the studio. Come on, please put your hands together. Well, it's been a pleasurable time. Thank you for joining us today. And of course, a massive shout out to our powerhouse producer, Francis Azubike. Come on, put your hands together once again for him. Absolutely. Well, you can join the conversation online at The Big Issue on TV. And of course, you can actually follow me on Instagram as well at Mark Otabo. Until next time, stay educated, stay engaged, and stay strong. This has been The Big